Welcome to my channel. This is Anne Reyes from Anne Reyes Designs, and today I'm going to talk about something quite special to me and how did I manage to get to where I'm at, like as a senior product designer. So what was my job search strategy? So my journey actually started in the Philippines. In the Philippines, I was taking up IT, and while I was at school, my first few jobs was working in a publications group. So there's this publication group called Laboxa, and they were doing they were doing a hiring for people that wanted to join their groups. So after taking a very long exam, I was considered and I was hired as one of their writers. I was also an illustrator and a layout. It was nice because I got to work with the best of the best that my college could offer. And during that time, most of the people who were working already or was part of that group, they had awards from participating in multiple competitions and also submitting their work for literary awards. I think they still do. They participate in a lot of national and regional level. So I thought that I wanted to get in there. I wanted to be surrounded by people that were doing a good job, and so I just took that chance. At the same time, I was also part of a group called Bridge. So Bridge was an organization that loved anime. We cosplayed, we had events. So eventually, from secretary all the way to becoming a vice president to president eventually, I climbed my way up and actually paid me money. We also tried to cosplay as a group, so we got paid that way. And then whatever money we earned, we tried to put it back into the organization. Sometimes we would hold group gatherings where we would eat together and have fun and do stuff. We also had a budget that was given to us by the school, so I can't remember how much, but it allowed us to conduct as the events that we had in a year. So I remember having to plan all of the events that we needed to do in a year, like maybe 12 months in advance, something like that. So at the end of a school year, I would be planning the next year's events and get them all approved. But it was fun. So I had a lot of experience working there. I also was taking freelance clients. So it just so happened that some of my relatives and some people wanted me to work with them. So I accepted, a job for someone's CD cover. So that was kind of nice. And I got paid with money and also like a guitar pick. This person was one of my trainers because for some reason I wanted to join my uncle's call center, which didn't kind of pan out. And then eventually through my uncle, I was able to design Filmac, for example, so the Philippine Missionary Exhibition. So that was one of the things that I worked on. I helped design logos and icons and flyers for events, designs and booths, and the wayfinding and signages. So, and also the publications group. So I had a very solid foundation around design. Because I was doing this, I thought to myself that even though I have an information technology degree, I don't think that I wanted to pursue IT. I don't want to code. But I did get an internship in two companies. So one company was PLDT and another company was Littlefuse. So in PLDT was my experience was kind of nice. I got to go there because it was one of the easiest internships to get. But I also didn't like how when you're taking calls from people, and it's not even related to IT, but it's somewhat related. Like you have to manually map out the networks and maintain those and fix whatever internet problems that people call you for. But when I was there, people would call me up and scream at me and shout at me even though I'm not really the cause of their problems. Obviously, it's like I've learned how to manage people's their temper and their problems and try to de-escalate things with that experience. But I didn't like the experience in total. I felt like I don't think I'm cut out for this. I need something better. The advisors that I had at that time who thought that I had a very good I had pretty good skills. Like they considered me as one of the top students in LaSalle. So they advised me. They gave me a recommendation letter to just apply for one of the bigger companies. And I also had the almost invitation when I went to Singapore uh, one of the people there in Google was interested in working with me, but like at that time I thought, I can't take this internship just because it's so expensive. Like if I had to think about going to Singapore and like making sure that I had a place to stay, if the money didn't pay enough, then I didn't think to do that. But like in hindsight, I should have taken a chance. But because I rejected that, I was able to work with Little Fuse. And working in Little Fuse and their IT team was really great, just because I got to see what it was like to work in a manufacturing company, and like they're part of this huge group of people, so manufacturing lines. I got to learn about like the importance of sorting everything, like making sure that everything is organized. So I think they were using like Six Sigma, something similar, about like making sure that everything is labeled, you can find them so that you don't lose time trying to find things that are missing. Working through that, and then eventually realizing that this is not the path that I want to take. I want to pursue design. I was doing a lot. Like I was trying to enjoy my time as a student. And so when my parents told me that, I don't think it's a good idea for you to stay in the Philippines, maybe you should go to Dubai. So I went to Dubai, and when I got there, I think I found a job within the first month. So one mistake that I had when going to Dubai was I just applied to as many as I can without really thinking to myself like, what can I bring to the company, or like targeting the highest paying jobs, just because I already had an expectation that the first job will suck. I just need to get those reps in. I just needed to get the experience in, so it doesn't matter to me like if I was going to get hired by a very big company or a very small company. Thankfully, that sort of worked out because I really enjoyed my first job there. I worked with Al Najma, and so I said I got my job for the first month, and I'm gonna share it with you like how crappy my portfolio was in the past few years. So this is to all of the newbie graphic designers that are thinking that maybe it's going to be too hard to get noticed. You don't really need a perfect portfolio. You just need to be able to show that you are capable of doing the job. And sometimes that also means like taking, especially if you're a newcomer, if you're new to a position, they want to test if you're actually, like, what you say on your resume should be the skill that you can actually do. Because some people have shared with me that there are people who faked a lot of the stuff in their resume, that they padded it so much that when it came to actually doing the job, they didn't have the skills. That's why some people resort to testing people. My target back then was just like 3,000 dirhams for my salary, and this was way back in 2014. So this is probably a little bit higher compared to now, and it's very small compared to what I'm earning. But it was still a good number to target. So that was one good thing that I did. I had a target, and I was also very blatant in asking for what I wanted. So and because of that, I felt like I could just totally ask them, how much are you paying for this role? And if they tell me that they're only paying for 2,000, I would just tell them frankly that I don't think I'm a good fit for this role, because I don't want 2,000 is too low for me. And so I just dropped the call there. And it helped me because if you go to the job and then you have no idea how much they're willing to pay you for, and at the very end you figure out that they're only willing to pay you this much, especially on the junior level where they can find so many other candidates, I just thought to myself that it might not be the best use of my time and the employer's time if I waited until the last minute to actually understand what is the ballpark figure that they're willing to pay me for. And so I think this strategy served me well, even if some coaches or maybe hiring managers would tell you that maybe this is not a good idea. So I had the spray and pray approach. I had only one resume, and that was enough, because I think I didn't really have the varied experience that would allow me to apply to multiple different types of roles. I only had leadership experience and like IT and design, and I wanted to get into design. So even my IT experience, I was like toning it down just because it doesn't feel relevant. But when I went into these interviews, I had like a folder with me with my recent achievements as a student, with all of the certificates, certificates of participation, first place, second place, third place in my competitions that I attended. So these things kind of helped me along. So when I knew that I really wanted the company, I researched online. There's a lot of YouTube guides. There's a lot of websites out there that helped me prepare for the interview, and it also helped that I tried to research what the company was doing. So when I went there, I was prepared to answer to the best of my abilities, and I think they didn't really expect much from me because I'm a junior. So one thing I noticed is the more you climb up, the more experience you tend to have, the more the people that are hiring you are expecting that you're able to do your role and that they don't have to guide you to it, or to do like they don't have to guide you and tell you what to do because you were hired as an expert. So the next thing that happened was I decided to start my own company, and that kind of failed. I was able to get a couple of clients when I went back to the Philippines, and because it didn't work out, I eventually went back to Dubai. So I went back with my job hunt. And during this time, I already have a lot more things to offer in my portfolio. I took in a lot of freelance clients. During the time that I was in the Philippines, I had like a total of like 5 or 6 companies that I worked with. And so that helped me, that really helped me find my next role, which was with Expo Trade. So this one, I spent a longer time trying to look for a job. I think I was searching for a job for 1 to 2 months. I can't remember, but I same approach. I applied to as many as I can, but I also put more effort this time in the companies that I really wanted to join. So Expo Trade was one of them, and it aligned with some of the things that I was doing before. Like my strength was being a leader and being able to organize and prioritize for events. And Expo Trade was a ballpark in the figure that I wanted. So at that time, I think I was already in the talks with another company. So I was weighing down which offer would be better, but they came back to me with like a higher offer, I think. And so I'm like, because I'm more interested in this company anyway, and I think I could grow there, then I pursued this. So yes, same approach. I would always ask the people that I'm talking to, how much are you willing to offer? And I would wait only if the company is something that I really like. I know that it could be very rude to be like that, but in this day and age, I think it's just something that people should be doing anyway. Transparency and around how much they're willing to pay, just so that people don't waste time trying to apply for things that they can't afford to pay for. So yeah, a very pragmatic view. I know that when you're applying to a company, you have to show your value to the company, but it also has to be attractive to you as a person that's applying. I went to Canada, and a lot of things were different. Again, one is the weather, the people, the culture, the environment. I talked about this in the previous job, but I didn't highlight that, even for a regular or a non-industry regulated kind of job like graphic design, you still need to prove that you have experience, that you've worked with Canadians before, so you could be well adjusted in the workplace. And this is sort of pointing to some of the difficulties that some people may have. So some people may have trouble speaking the language, or some people may have trouble adjusting to the workplace environment. And while that's not really all that different, maybe it's more challenging to some people, and I actually don't think that it should be the case. But it's easier for companies to hire someone that already has the experience, so they don't have to teach someone to change their ways, for example. I got into that a little, knowing that I had to lower my expectations. So I applied for a job, and then my first job here was an internship position. So my first job was paying, I think, $14 an hour. And that was not easy, just because I already have so much, and I felt like I was getting underestimated by the people who hired me. No offense to them, but not them, but like some of the people around me, because they knew that I only accepted an internship position, but I already had so much experience dealing with clients and government bodies. So it felt like I had more to offer, and which I did like negotiate with my manager at the time, who was very, very supportive of me. He told me that, he's gonna work things out because, my performance was pretty good. And so I was able to bring that up from $14 to $30 an hour, which was at that time very, very good. Like, for me, I was like pretty happy, but that $14 an hour for like maybe 6 months or less than that, I don't know, I can't recall. That was hard just because I was earning so much more in Dubai. Because here in Canada, you get taxed. So you don't exactly get the full spectrum of the money that you earn. Like for myself, I think I'm getting taxed between, right now, last year, I think I was getting taxed almost 40% of my salary. Something around that number. Something very stupid, that number. But at least I'm getting benefits. So now, I did the same. I did the same approach because I didn't really know any better. I just applied to as many jobs as I could and took the first one just because like I needed money. I needed bills to get paid, and I also wanted to get my first. When I moved out from Toronto to Vancouver, my strategy changed just because I wanted to be accepted by a job that I really liked, where I could find work-life balance that suited my strengths more. Because the first job that I got here, while it was very exciting and it was also related to my experience doing events, I really wanted to find a place or like a company where I could grow as a person. And so I found out with IO Airflow, and we help building health analytics. The great thing about it is that they had a learning credit of $4,000, and that allowed me to get training for data visualization and UX. And after I finished that within 3 months while working, so I was doing a lot of work. I would be up from like 8 a.m. and then I'll be working and studying until 12 a.m. So I had that schedule. I basically had no life, but it allowed me to really progress as a designer. And so even though eventually they got acquired and I was offered to work with this company eventually, and learned so much during that time. I upskilled and I was able to apply what I learned, that when I got offers for consulting in 2020 all the way to 2024, I felt like the knowledge that I gained, the experience from that first place really, really helped me propel me to the next role, which is in product design. So all throughout the years, I basically had the same approach, but for the last role that I had with Checkfront, I was lucky because it was during the time when hiring was pretty much getting better. Like people left and right were looking to hire product designers and UX designers, and I also didn't really want a very high paying job at that time, even though I still got a very high paying job. And I wasn't aiming for something super high, but because I had multiple offers and a lot of companies wanted to work with me and want me to help them build their products, I felt grateful, and I also had the choice to pick like which one of these companies will I grow the most from. So in terms of like where I wanted to go, I wanted to be with a team. I wanted to be with a growing team. I wanted to be with fellow designers because I realized that I'm not really growing as much in my other roles because I didn't have someone that was senior to me that was teaching me all the things that I needed to learn for that role. And so my advice for other people who are considering options, sometimes you can take the lower paying salary if you think that role will provide you the growth that you need. Because during that time when I was choosing between like 3 companies that had offers for me, one was to work with the government, the other one was to work with Checkfront, and then another one was actually paying me really high. So they were prepared to give me all the benefits from the first day. They were also prepared to increase all of my vacation pay, and they were also prepared to increase my salary $10,000 higher than what Checkfront was offering me. So it was a very, very good deal. But I thought to myself, in this position, I would be the only designer, so I'd be stuck in that wheelhouse of like I'm only talking to myself, even though I'm able to collaborate with different people. I won't have someone that will talk to me and then point out what are the things that I could do in order to grow a bit more. So it was only when I started applying for a product design position that I was very intentional about my job search. So I would fully research the company that I was applying for. I would customize my cover letters because I hated cover letters before. I didn't like writing them. I would only had a generic cover letter. But every single time that I applied for a role, I had a customized cover letter. I also had multiple case studies that I sent depending on the role. So I would send them a link that had only 3 case studies available. So I created landing pages just for each specific role. Some tips that I would want to share, because I have been actively looking for tips from other designers and mentors, is that people don't really pay attention to the portfolio as much as you think they do. You want to look as visually appealing as possible, which is something that I've been trying to fix with mine. Like I have a lot of very high level strategic from 0 to 1 MVP style portfolios that were pretty much rushed, but there's also stuff that I worked on at the back that I'm trying to get permission for to feature. Well, who knows if I get them or not. So pay attention to UI skills, but also play to your strengths is what I got. Another thing is to do mock interviews, especially if you're gearing for a senior or like an intermediate position. So before, it was probably okay when the market was pretty good that you didn't do your research with your companies that you were applying for. But now, they're expecting that you know enough about the role, that you know enough about the position, that when you talk there, you're not wasting anyone's time, that you can answer all of their questions. Because the questions are pretty much very similar in most positions. So, when I first started, I had a very bad portfolio. So it was this one. I thought it would be a good idea to add color to each of the squares that I'm seeing here, but they actually look pretty bad. So I thought that maybe it would look good if all of these were, and then it was also custom. So I have my custom HTML where it would change. It would change color if I saw this. I don't know if there's a way for me to see how it looked like in mobile too. Nope. So the good thing about creating my portfolio in Weebly was that everything was pretty much responsive, but this one was pretty bad. Let me just go back to the pages. So I still had a few pages back here, same thing. Had my web design projects. I also had my freelance projects, the same pages, but I also had an updated design project. So I'm just using this as like this was my other version of the portfolio back then when I was applying in Dubai. So I had or applying to Canada for the first time. So I had expo trade stuff and then artworks. So all of these images pointed to one page after another, and it looked very, very, very crappy. Yeah, but it still got me to where I'm at. So before, this was my artworks. I just had all of my artworks in one big file from 2013 to 2015. Then I have other designs that I worked on. So I created a watercolor guide. I was working on a yearbook. It was very like in your face kind of designs. And I also tried to feature some of the work that I had NDA for. So I tried to create a very pixelated version, but I don't think that you should. You should go for that. I also had a project for a school and a project for someone with their albums, and I had a project for my convention work. So I participated in a convention as an artist because I really liked watercolor, and I had logo design, and I also had this is super old back then in 2013. 2012 to 2013, I was working with film Mac while I was in college and it sucked. And I also had fashion shows, the events that I participated in. These are all just photos and photos of all of the activities that I helped plan. Not all of them looked great, but I think it was pretty fun doing all of this. And some of them, that's still an achievement for a student, like talking to sponsors and getting events. Um, and then this is my work with Lavoxa, so I had a couple of things that I wanted to showcase. Some of the articles that I helped create. My really crazy artwork back then. I thought I was going to be an abstract artist, but like my tastes have changed. And then, yeah, these are just article after article, work after work. And so I updated now. I updated it to its current state, which is what you see here. So I'm a bit more intentional about what I'm sharing. So I realized that with a portfolio, you need a very catchy title that the first few things that a person sees, they must talk about you, like who you are, what you're good at, so people are not left wondering if you're going to be a good candidate for a position. So what I'm good at is user experience design, strategy, brand strategy, and design operations. These are things that I really, really enjoy. But aside from that, I'm also very good at UX research and a little bit on the UI side, even though I would say I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle, but some of the projects that I've worked on are very heavily on UI. So I know that to myself. Some of my projects are also very high impact. So I try to feature the higher impact projects first. And so these are like a few of the more recent ones, the design strategies that I've been driving, very high number that people could get wowed with, I don't know. And the markets that I've touched, so I've worked with multiple industries. Some of them are clients, some of them are projects. And then I've also worked on illustration and then design for conferences, and then put in some of the logos that I've worked with, like the brands that I've worked with. These are not all of them. If I had to list all of them, there's going to be like 40, 50 to 100 of them here. You'll see some of the sponsors that I worked with anyway. So I didn't put all of them, but just to give you an idea. And then I have my testimonials. So I've been trying to actively reach out to some of my clients to ask for testimonials because it will help them. It will help just bring visibility to my website. And I also put in a little blurb about myself, about the impact and what I care for when I'm looking for my next role. My full portfolio has a bit of the same things that my previous portfolios have. It's just that some of them are now organized into case studies. So I talk about impact, I segment all the other showy pieces. And so, for example, here, instead of like just showing pictures, I show numbers that people can see right away. So what did I actually do? What did I accomplish while I was there? How many people attended it? It just looks nicer that way. And then the other problem that I have right now is that I think a lot of my portfolio case studies are still very long. So I've seen some people comment that, as a hiring manager, you don't really have time. So if I was just scanning through here, okay, I might be interested in the timeline. Okay, 1 month research format development, and interested in the impact, successfully sold memberships. So I try to minimize the text, but it's still very text heavy. So I relied on like putting titles like this. Also tried to use more iconography. Obviously, these images, if I had more time, I would probably customize them myself. But I also relied on an easily changeable solution with StorySet, I believe. So I'm using StorySet because they provide like vector and images. So what I do is like I type for, let's say, graduate, because I'm seeing a graduation for there. Then I choose the style that I want. And this is not sponsored, by the way. I just really like their style. And then so I like bro, and then I will pick this one. And I will change the color I could change it to whatever color I want. basically, but they have pretty much the basic colors here. So I use pink because I like pink, and I can change some of the things here that I don't want to see, and I can also show all the layers, so I don't need to show this. Like, I could customize it in a way. So I usually prefer something that is very simple, and I like this style. I can download the SVG or I can download the PNG file, and I could further edit that using my own tool. So I've used this approach in some of my clients too. Like, I would go to a repository of patterns that I could easily customize, so I could brand it to their style. But yeah, this is what I have, and I also have, like, I've customized a bit of the CSS and the backend for some of these. And I think it's working. It's not perfect. It's like, if you're gonna ask me if I'm satisfied with it, I don't think I'm satisfied, but also I know that I shouldn't be putting all of my attention with my portfolio, because I'm like really learning that it's more important to network, and also it's more important to make connections and find more friends in the field than it is to just keep, putting more and more effort here, because creating a case study takes so long. Like, I do the research. I mean, even if I put this together in like 2 days, it takes a lot of brain power to actually go through every single detail and make sure that everything is correct. And I'm the type of person that likes to write a lot. I'm very, very good at writing, but I know that no one's gonna read this wall of text, even if I already have even if I have the text that's easy to read, like titles and all of that. I feel that could be better, but I'm leaving it at that, just because I know I have other opportunities, and I also have other things that I'm currently working on, which includes YouTube videos. So I don't know if that's helpful. So that brings us to a close. I hope you enjoyed my video, and if you like these types of content, I will be happy to create more of them. I know that my target was to create 2 to 3 videos in a week, but then life's gotten busy for me. I actually decided that starting this year, I should pay attention to friends more. So I went to Yale Town, and I also got, I'm trying to befriend more people online, and also trying to be more intentional about meeting people, like even my neighbors, for example. I wanted to make time for them, just because when I moved to Canada, all of the only thing that I kept doing was just staying with family, and also I never really took the chance to do things for myself. Like, very rarely did I do that, but it was always related to learning new things. So I took a publishing class, I went on like a book conference, and then I attended a few events here and there. And so I want to spend more time with people that I like, and I'm gonna do it. I'm going to make myself accountable to making time for friends. And yeah, there's also a part of me that wants to explore Canada more. I want to see how beautiful it is. There are things in this country that I haven't really appreciated. Like, I've gone paddleboarding, for example, but I haven't really done hiking. I haven't gone camping. I've tried going to the mountains, but I haven't tried to ski, but I don't think I want to, just because I don't want to lose my life in the rare occasion that it might happen. So yes, there are things that I want to do, and I want to share it with all of you. But if you have anything specific that you want to learn, please feel free to comment down below. Thank you so much, and see you in